Hi, Algebra 2. This is 9.25, Part 2. And we've got a couple more factoring examples here. So again, notice we got the first term, middle term. So we're going to set it equal to 0 because we're going to try to solve by factoring. So I get x squared plus 8x plus 7. My leading coefficient is 1. So this is just what I call straight up factoring. Two factors of x are x and x. My only two factors of 7 are 7 and 1. So hopefully when I add those guys together, I get 8. 7 plus 1 is 8, so that's my factorization. Then I set each of these factors equal to 0 and solve. X would be equal to negative 7 when I move it over. X is equal to negative 1 when I move that one over. All right. Again, I've got the first term, middle term. I'm going to have to solve this by factoring. I'm going to move both of these guys that direction and change their sign. So 3x squared plus a 16x plus a 5 equals 0. And now we've got a leading coefficient that is not 1, so we're going to have to do our divide and slide. So 3 times 5 would be 15. We're looking for two factors of 15 that add up to 16. So that would have to be 15 and 1. So 3 plus 5 would be 8. That doesn't work. But 15 plus 1 would be 16. Need them both to be positive. However, because my leading coefficient was not 1, I got to go take care of that 3. I got to bring it back in. So I'm going to divide everything by that leading coefficient, which was 3. So you hear 15 divided by 3. That's a nice whole number, so I'm going to just divide it. 15 divided by 3 would be 5. Over here, I've got x plus 1 divided by 3. 1 divided by 3 is not a happy whole number, so I'm going to slide that 3 on over in front of the x. So remember, if it divides into a happy whole number, you divide it. If not, you slide that denominator in front of the x. Once we get our two factors, we set them both equal to 0. And solve. Here we got x is equal to negative 5. Here we get 3x is equal to negative 1. Dividing by 3, x is equal to negative 1/3. And those are my two solutions. All right, for these problems, notice we've got a first term and a middle term. We don't have the last term. So I'm not really going to be able to factor it. Can't really solve it by taking the square root. A common mistake of students would be saying, okay, I'm going to get the x squared by itself. I'm going to divide off an x. You can never divide by x. When you divide by x, you lose one of your solutions. So this is a big no. So instead, I'm going to do some factoring. What's common to both x squared and 2x? They both have an x in common. And when you pull out that x, you've got one x left over and then minus 2. And now we've already factored it as far as we can. So one solution is x equals 0. Or x minus 2 equals 0, which means x would be 2. So there's my two solutions for this one. We're going to do the same thing over here. I've got 3x squared. I'm going to move the 9x over and make it negative. What's common to both of these guys would be a 3 and an x. What I have left over is an x. Negative 9 divided by 3 would be negative 3. So 3x equals 0. Or x minus 3 equals 0. Here, when you divide by 3, you still have x is equal to 0. Here, you get x is equal to positive 3. So again, it's so tempting for students just to divide off one of these x's, and then you just end up with this problem. 3x is equal to 9, divide by 3, and you see how you just get one solution, x is equal to 3. You miss out on this other solution, so don't divide by x when you're trying to solve. Bad. All right, let's try these two. What's my common denominator or common factor here? They both have a 2 in them. They both have an x in them. If I take out 2, 6 divided by 2 would be 3 with one more x. 4 divided by 2 would be 2, and we take the x out. So I get 2x is equal to 0, or 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. Here, dividing by 2, x is 0 divided by 2, which is just 0. Here I get 3x is equal to negative 2. Dividing by 3, x is equal to negative 2/3. right, same thing for this last problem, 16x squared minus 8x, getting a set equal to 0. What they have in common is an 8 and an x. 16 divided by 8 is 2 with one more x. Negative 8 divided by 8 is negative 1. We'll pull the x out of there. So you get 8x is equal to 0, or 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. Dividing off that 8, 0 divided by 8 is still 0. Over here, I get 2x is equal to positive 1, which means x is equal to 1/2. And those are your solutions. And that's your homework for tonight. So if you have questions, please send me an email. I'm happy to help you. I will not be available for tutorials tomorrow. Either Auden or Brinkman is available. I am available on Thursday, A and B lunch. That's my next tutorial times. Have a good night, guys.